Hi friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and I thought today I would do something that I've never done before, and that is to showcase Miss Cleo's Tarot Power deck. I've had this deck for probably about 5 years. I saw it on Amazon one day when I was perusing to look for tarot decks, and I was able to get 2 decks for $5, 2 copies for $5. So I thought, why not? Those of us of a certain age, we remember Miss Cleo from the 90s, and she was like a late night. She did late night commercials for I guess it was like a psychic hotline or something like that. And she was quite a character. Now her company went down in flames, and it brought her down with it. And when I first got this deck, on my original Instagram page or account, which is still in existence, it's The Tarot Reader. I now currently all I use my Instagram accounts for is to, alert people that I've done videos, and I don't even always do a great job at doing that. I just mostly depend on you guys to find it when you go to YouTube, because sometimes I'm lazy. But in those days when I got this deck, I just was, showcasing different decks that I had, and I wasn't doing, too many YouTube videos, if any at all. And I mention all this because at one point, Miss Cleo responded to one of my comments regarding her when I was speaking about this deck. And so it got us into a little bit of a dialogue exchange between the two of us. And if you want to find it, just, I guess, look up Miss Cleo's deck or something, or peruse the Tarot Reader account, and until you find Miss Cleo. I don't remember what keywords I might have used. If I can go back and find it, I'll put it down below to make your life a little easier. But at any rate, Miss Cleo did respond to me, and we went back and forth and had a very nice exchange between us, and I thought it was really nice of her to reach out to me. She has passed away in the time since, and one of the things that she wanted to be made known was she was like the most colorful reader they had. So of course they used her as their spokesperson, but she really wasn't involved, according to her. She wasn't really involved with, all the money that be. And, and when they went down in flames, they brought her down because they made it look like she was a representative of the company, when really all she was, just a colorful character that, that had a character, that had an account with them as one of their readers. She also participated in a documentary about people who work hotlines. And so that was also very interesting. And if you find my original piece on Instagram, where she and I exchange conversation, you'll see reference to the name of that documentary. And as I mentioned, I'll make an effort to go find it, and I'll give you the keywords or the hashtag that will most likely get you to my account dialogue with her. I'll tell you what, if I find it, I'll give it a special kind of hashtag that nobody else would likely have. And then that way you'll find it most directly, okay? But anyway, today's video is just to see Miss Cleo's Power deck. I think it's probably still possible to get this on Amazon very inexpensively. As I mentioned, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years ago, I got 2 decks for $5, so it was extremely inexpensive. Okay, Miss Cleo's Tarot Power deck. It comes in a nice box. Designed and created by J.F. Lambert and Seth Stevens, 2001, Radar Communications, Inc. Here are the backs. Comes with a few inserts. So they, they capitalized on the popularity of Miss Cleo for sure. And the phone number for the hotline. Whether or not she was, how much involved she was, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I only know what she told me. It comes with a little white book, as most decks do, with meanings. And we clearly see from the beginning that we have a Egyptian motif buying into the whole ancient, coming from Egypt mythology, which is interesting, coming off of other Atea deck videos that I've done. So here we have a fool who's facing inwardly and not noticing, danger. He turns his back to it. Interesting. Oh, I don't have this in any order. Let me put these cards in order. Alrighty, I've put them in order. So I think I commented on the Fool card. Here we have the Magician. We see the Lemniscate. And we see what appears to be each of the Lemniscate is an Ouroboros. Look at that. Okay. And I don't see a baton, do I? I see the cup, the knife, a coin. I don't see the fourth. However, it could be there right in plain view, and I'm just not seeing it. The female Pope. So we see we have, the occultist names for things. Interesting. We have a lot of snakes in this deck. Yeah, but we see hints of the Rider-Waite-Smith, and we see more of it in other deck and other cards as we get further along. Interesting. Here's the Hierophant. I love Cupid here. And we see 8 as strength, so it adheres to the Rider-Waite-Smith system. Obviously, it doesn't correspond to the Atea deck, despite the strong association with Egyptian stuff, because as we have learned, Atea had a completely different numeric system, and he eliminated some of the cards that are in the deck, like the 2, 3, 4, and 5 numbered cards. The Hermit has his torch. So if you like your Thoth references and you like, that, but you also like the Rider-Waite-Smith system, this would be a deck for you. We have the Hanged Man, very interesting. We have the rope, the snake substituting for the rope. We have the spread of the wings of the bird for the gallows. We have a scarab. He is not awake. He is not a blonde. We have reference to the pyramids. So I don't know. I think it's a fun deck. This almost looks like a cartoon character from Merry Melodies or something. Interesting. So if you're interested in this deck, it's part of your collection and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I am reasonably sure that this deck still goes for very little money. They're practically giving this deck away. And at some point they're going to run out. And at some point it's going to be a collector's item, like in, 30 years, things that seem very common at the moment, like tarot decks that you can get out of a magazine, for example. 30 years later, they become such a rarity, like, oh my gosh, And then you try to collect it, but because it was so, it's harder to get. Unless you were in on it from the beginning. And I think this deck might be one of those kind of decks that you sort of have to be in on it to have it in your collection. It might take 30 years, but if you keep it and you want to, have it in your collection and you live long enough, it could be something that you can live to see, become a collector's item or pass on to your own children or grandchildren or whatever. I wonder, so somebody pulled like a Pamela Coleman Swift kind of idea and just JF, right? Gave their little initials for each image. Let's see what the name was again. JF Lambert. Okay, there we go. So this gives understanding to the Eight of Batons or the Eight of Wands of the Rider-Waite-Smith. I never was really clear on whether it was ascending or descending. And here we have the guy, seemingly sending it out. So if you can read Rider-Waite-Smith, you can certainly read this deck. I hope you enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, I hope you go back to my Instagram, The Tarot Reader. I'll put a unique hashtag down below so that you can readily go find it. And the dialogue I had between myself and Miss Cleo. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be kind, and do no harm.